Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian with PerfectStockAlert.com, a 100% free service for smart investors and traders. Today is Friday, March the 18th, 2011. It's time to look at the markets for the week ahead. Check this out. Okay, before we get started, quick little update here on our portfolio. We closed out a position on Thursday in YRCW. It was a sell position, and we closed that position out on Thursday, expecting it to bounce up a little bit on Friday, which it did, and we gained 75% on that trade. So those of you who are following us on our portfolio, check that out. We will take a new position next week, or maybe more than one given opportunity. Okay. There's a lot of volatility in the markets. It's been that way for the past couple of weeks, and I don't expect that to change. We're going to have a very news-driven market, and though we, are praying for those in Japan, the problem still exists over there, and we still got to be aware of that. They've had their, tsunami and the earthquake. This caused a lot of damage to some nuclear reactors over there. And every one of those reactors is an individual problem, and that needs to be noted, even though they turn power on to one or something like that, which they may do any time this weekend. Every single one of them has to have power turned on to it. Every single one of them has to have the pump system working. And when they put the water back in or the cooling back into the uh, to cool off the rods, they have to do so slowly so that past explosions and so forth and so on that have caused damage don't cause the too much stress from the weight of the coolant to actually make a new problem. So there's just a lot of different ways that can go bad over there. Be praying for them continuously, and at the same time keep an eye on it for the market's perspective. It's going to move markets next week. You're going to see probably some good news, and you may see some bad news as well. So whenever it's bouncing around like that, just keep that in mind. Okay. Looking at Australia's markets, to start there. We told you last week you had a nice sell signal here, broke the uptrend line, not a sell signal, but a bearish signal here, telling you a continuation signal to the downside. We don't actually have a sell signal here. We were stopped out back here, and that put us in cash, but we don't have a sell signal on this particular index. This particular week, we have what a lot of people are going to call a hammer candlestick formation, which would in a lot of cases call for a bounce, and you may still see one next week. The main thing I want to bring to attention regarding this one, note the size of the wick coming from the bottom there. That's a knee-jerk reaction back to the upside here, but it's not strong. And whenever they're like that, like back here, we had a really long needle come out of the bottom there, a wick, and that typically tells you that in the short term, expect a test of this low point, and that's what you got a couple weeks later. She tested it, okay? In this case here, I expect the same thing. You may bounce around, you may start off moving to the downside there, but in any event, I expect more selling here. A quick look here at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Last week we told you had a sell signal right there. We expected this uptrend line to break down. That's exactly what happened. And any bounce that you get, you're going to kind of steer clear of this line. This line right here is going to start acting as resistance. It was support, and now it's going to start behaving as resistance. You saw that on, I think it was Canada's market. We'll go over that in a minute. But the main thing here is you've got a major sell-off, then a bounce to the upside, and this bounce is going to be used by a lot of people as a sell opportunity simply because the uptrend has broken down and it's not where you want to be doing your buying. Remember, our last signal was a sell signal. We were overextended. This started selling off before the Japan thing happened. It's not actually just Japan that's causing this market to sell off. A quick look here at gold. We are moving sideways, relatively sideways from the close perspective at least. You will notice that in this particular case, we didn't trade this chart. We traded GLD, and we got stopped out on there. Okay, that's where we were stopped out. And we told you in this particular case, you didn't have a sell signal. You had some selling, but it wasn't a bearish engulfing, so we told you we wouldn't sell it. And in fact, all you're doing right now is moving sideways. You did dip a little bit lower, but bounce back up. And what you're really doing here is, if you notice these previous high points right here, that's where resistance. Now you're trading upon it like it's support. That's consolidation. Let it happen. It can break down. It can break up. Whatever it does, don't do anything, or I wouldn't do anything until I saw an opportunity and a good quality entry signal, either long side or the short side. A quick look here at the Hong Kong Hang Seng Index. We told you last week that we expected this uptrend line to break down. We got news last week that basically they had kind of slowing down their economy and put more potential for higher interest rate hikes, and we expected that to drive prices lower with basically that's what we saw this week. And this candlestick formation right here is a continuation signal to the downside. You are trading at the lower Bollinger Band line and find a little bit of support here at the 50 period moving average, but that's temporary. It's not major support. Major support's down here, okay? Keep that in mind. A quick look here at the India Bombay Stock Exchange, the BSE. We were stopped out of this position, our most recent short here, 3 weeks ago, and this particular candlestick formation gapped up after major selling and gapped up here and started rallying and stopped us out. But like we told you last week, this was not a bullish engulfing, not a buy signal. And this one here shows more selling coming back in. Like we said last week, you're just rolling over again, coming back down. Wait for another signal, but right now you would be watching this in cash. This is not where you want to be doing your shorting at or your buying, okay? The London Financial Times Index, or the FTSE, this has had 4 weeks to the downside. That's noteworthy, and they've had their own financial issues over there. News on Portugal came out this week, so you've got a lot of stuff brewing out there, not just Japan that's driving markets lower. I don't expect this to change anytime soon. You may get a bounce, from one week to the next, but just because you have a bounce in an overall downtrend, you're moving lower and you get a bounce doesn't mean anything. Wait for the signals, continue to advance your stops. We've had sell on this one, for instance, back here, and we're advancing the stops. So let's do that again, advance it down to this level. That'll lock in again no matter what happens. Quick look here at the NASDAQ. Here again in the US, you'll notice we had our sell signal back here. Expecting more selling this week. That's exactly what's happened. Makes sense because we were overextended, overbought, and we had broken down the major uptrend line. Again, notice that the uptrend line, once it broke down, became resistance. So when you bounce back up to it, you started finding resistance there, okay? I'd remain a bear right now and advance my stop along the way. Quick look here at oil, the oil index. You'll notice that we had a sell signal here from last week. We told you that I would pass on this one because it wasn't very weak. There was better opportunities in equities rather than commodities. And you'll notice this week we did sell off, but we found what? Support at the previous, that's a bad line, at the previous support line here, this uptrend line. And that's where you bounced off of right there. So that's why I was, not wanting to jump on this on the sell side here. So I would again pass on this one personally. She could test it again. She could bounce around, move sideways. She could do a lot of different things. But there's a lot of, this is really news driven right now. And with all the unrest that's over there in the Middle East, I'm just not going to be shorting this one. I can do so better with equities. The Russell 2000 Small Cap Index. This was not a big mover comparative to, what you saw in the Dow Jones Industrial Average or something of that nature, but you did have some selling as well, and this continues to move to the downside. Continue to advance your stops. I was trading YRCW this week. I advanced my stop on that and basically closed that position as I expected it to bounce, like I said earlier, and it did so, but we locked in a 75% gain on that before that happened. Also, the week before last, we closed out another position. I forget what the ticker symbol was. Who was it? I forget. Anyway, it was 102% gain, but basically the same thing. Whenever they're moving in your favor like that, keep advancing your stop loss limit so that when you get that bounce, it doesn't put you underwater. You're always protecting yourself. The S&P 500 gave us a beautiful sell signal last week, giving us a sell signal at the same time breaking the uptrend line. That tells us to start selling, and that's exactly what you would be doing there this week, and continue to do as long as the uptrend is broken. There's no buy opportunity out there. Quick look here at silver. This one has given us a sell signal right here. I'll mark the chart in a moment. In this particular case, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive weeks to the upside. We were stopped out of the long this week. As you noticed, our low point was, our last low point was the stop loss limit. We pulled back down, triggered that stop, and now we've given it a sell signal here. And we expect this to move to the downside as well. I'm not personally going to take this one. This one is a very bullish chart, and I'm just not going to walk into a situation where the chart is bullish, but the signals is the downside. I like to work with the trend and the overall chart formation and the signal, all three telling me the exact same thing. It just gives me that much more security, that much more potential return as well, okay? Okay, I've updated the chart on silver. It's on the website at perfectstockalert.com. You'll notice here we've given it a sell signal with a stop being the previous candlestick's high, 36.71, so 36.72 will be the stop loss limit, 1 cent above that high. Remember, whenever you're in an uptrend, you get a sell signal, only expect it to test the trend lines. Therefore, a pullback here or a sell off here, that if you did take that opportunity and you shorted it or sold, I would only expect that price activity to go as low until it found support upon that uptrend line, like we just saw with oil. Okay. Look at Canada's markets, the TSX. You notice this uptrend line formation right here broke down. All right. And we saw a little bit of selling this week, and then that bounce that we had actually showed more strength here than it did in the U.S. markets. The main reason being this major sell candlestick formation that you had right here. A lot of volatility, a lot of people looking to see a bounce here. And when that happened, notice what happened. This support line starts to act as resistance right there. Okay. Expect that to continue to be the case. Any bounce that you're getting closer to this initial stop loss limit is going to be in your favor. It gives you the opportunity to take a short position, like for example, you may take one to 1400 if she continues to bounce like that. 1400 with a stop right here, it's a lot better than trying to enter right down here with a stop way up here. That's important to note, okay? Again, I'd like to encourage you to follow us at perfectstockalert.com and our portfolio right there. It's 100% free, very cool. Also, keep in your prayers this weekend and your thoughts. The Japan people, they're going through a real difficult time, as you guys well know, and it's not something that should be taken lightly. Okay, if you've not already given to the Red Cross or so forth and so on, you may do so by many different places out there, including Yahoo. Okay. Have a quick look at our disclaimer, read it and weep. God bless, take care, enjoy your weekend, and be safe.